Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings, everyone. Good evening. It's evening time for me here. Um, it is close to the time where we get ready to make our evening prayer. And I am coming on here to do a read aloud. I know I'm a day late and an hour and a half day late and an hour and a half late as well to put on top of it. But nevertheless, I'm here, okay, because I said my intention again was to come to you all once a week to bring those stories to life. I wanted to come on here and I started this back up about, I want to say about 4 months ago. I had been doing it for those of you who don't know, this is your first time watching. My name is Miss Seisha, and I am the founder and executive director of ABC Read, which is a nonprofit organization. I also started a brand called Reading is Freedom as well. And as you all peep the shirt back here, read, read, read. That is one of the main reasons why I'm on here, because I want to see our community. When I'm talking about our community, I'm speaking to the Black community first. All right. Those who are from the African diaspora. Okay. I want us to get back to our African roots, which is placing high value on literacy, period, point blank. And one of the most creative ways in which we can do that and connecting ways is by reading aloud. All right. The storytelling, whether it's you making up your own story or you're reading from a book. Either way, that is a great way to create conversations about different things that you've read. Sometimes it's hard to talk about certain topics with your children. It could be something, if you want to talk about having relationships, whether in male-female relationships, or you want to talk about, maybe your child is experiencing some bullying, or, if you want to, encourage your child to be an entrepreneur, whatever it is that you want to talk about, a great way to actually have those conversations is by getting a book that deals with that particular topic. And then you guys are reading it, and then you guys can have a conversation about it. So that's an excellent way to do that. So that's why one of the main reasons, the core as to why I decided to bring back the Read Aloud, okay, to Facebook. Now I'm on IG and YouTube Live. So that's pretty dope. All right. First, when I started back in 2017, I was just only on Facebook, and I was doing it for like close to 2 years, twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays. Those who are my old heads, y'all know that's what I was doing. And then I took a break and came back some during the pandemic, and then stopped again. Just other responsibilities, that's all. And then I said, you know what? I said, let me bring this back on here again. All right. So here we go. So today, the book I'm going to read is this. This is called Radiant Child, the story of young artist Jean-Michel Basquiat. All right. And it's written by Javicia Steptoe. And for those art people out there, art lovers, y'all know about Jean-Michel Basquiat. All right, this brother, he had a mix of the African roots. I believe his mother, let me check to make sure. Yes. Grew up in Brooklyn. His father, was from Haiti, and his mother's family was from Puerto Rico. So again, African roots, right? And so he lived in a trilingual household. Okay. So, in Haiti, they speak, they got the Creole, they got the French. He had this French, Spanish, and English jumping off. Okay. And so he definitely, he was an artist who left his mark. I didn't learn about him until I got good and grown. And I thought that this would be great because, number one, I think about, those who are in the art space, those who are creatives, you have a vision, you have things in which the way in which you view the world. And in addition to that, art is not just drawings and paintings. Okay. Reading aloud is an art form. All right. Um, when you are a builder, when you are an architect, that is an art form. The way, if you are somebody who's a fashion designer, the way you put your clothes together, that's an art form. So just remember, for those of you who are artists and those of you, you have that creative mind. Just remember, we all have that. We all have that unique creative mind, and we want to make sure that we are encouraging our children to hold on to that, to keep that. Because we live in a time where you got folks, man, they don't mind copying. They don't mind just saying, okay, you know what, I see what somebody else is doing and I'm just going to do what they do. It's like, no, you can see what other people are doing and get inspired, but you want to tap into your uniqueness. Okay. You want to tap into what makes you you, what makes you, give you your flavor, your swag, and all of that. That's what we want. And that's what we want to encourage our children, to make sure that they are showcasing it, not be embarrassed or ashamed. All right. What somebody else may think is quirky or weird or whatever, you know, they look at it like, hey, this is me. This is what I do. You know what I'm saying? This is something I like this. I like the way I put this style together. And when you own it, then that's when people look, they're like, you know what? Oh, okay, I see you. You unshakable. All right, can't nobody come and just tell you that, oh, I don't like that. And then next thing you know, you switch it up and you like, okay, well, let me do it like this. Maybe they say they'll like this, or maybe I do it like that. And maybe they say they'll like it like, no. You're like, okay, you don't like it, but guess what? They're like about close to 8 billion people across the globe. Is you kidding me? Bye. All right. So that's the attitude that we want to have. Okay. So with that being said, I want to get right on into it in the story, and grab your kids. Let's do this. For those of you who watching the replay, I'm starting the story in about 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay. When you first come on, are you probably like, she on her soapbox? Yeah, I just want to hear the story. Okay. Well, I'm starting at about 7:40. Here we go. Somewhere in Brooklyn, between hearts that thump, double Dutch and hopscotch, and salty mouths that slurp sweet ice, a little boy dreams of being a famous artist. In his house, you can tell a serious artist dwells as he sits at a table with pencils scattered everywhere. Jean Michel draws from morning until night with a serious face amid a storm of papers. He refuses to sleep until he has created a masterpiece. At night, images enchant Jean Michel's mind, and he wakes from his dreams to add one more line. His drawings are not neat or clean, nor does he color inside the lines. They are sloppy, ugly, and sometimes weird, but somehow still beautiful. His art comes from his mother, Matilda, a Puerto Rican woman who designs and sews, cooks and cleans, and makes the house look like a stylish magazine. But most important, she lies on the floor and draws with Jean Michel on his father's old work papers. From her, he learns that art is not only in the poetry books she reads to him or in the theaters and museums they visit. Art is the street games of little children, in our style and the words that we speak. It is how the messy patchwork of the city creates new meaning for ordinary things. While visiting the museum, they look at his favorite works of art, reading the story behind each artist, reading the story behind each work. This is how Jean Michel learns what it means to be a famous artist. Back at home, he creates art on the floor as his father, Gerard, plays jazz records. Mama Matilda cooks arroz con pollo and calls Jean Michel mi amor. The energy and life of the city can be felt in each line of his drawings. As time goes by, Jean Michel learns that art has a healing power. After a car accident, he is scared and confused. Matilda gives him a book to calm his fears. It is filled with pictures of bones, skulls, and other body parts. Jean Michel draws from it until he knows it all by heart. He is no longer afraid. Back at home, Jean Michel's body heals, but his heart breaks. His mother's mind is not well, and the family breaks. She no longer lies on the floor and draws with Jean Michel, but sits by the window, singing only to birds. Jean Michel is confused and filled with a terrible blues when Matilda can no longer live at home. He tries drawing the terrible out of his blues, but things are not the same. As Jean Michel grows older, he visits his mother when he can, always bringing his artwork to show, telling her that one day it will be in a museum. When I am a famous artist, a teenager now, Jean Michel decides, Papa, I will be very, very famous one day. With a sly look, a twinkle in his eye, Jean Michel leaves Brooklyn for New York City, the Lower East Side, the concrete jungle where only the tough survive. During the day, dressed in a green jumpsuit splattered with paint, Jean Michel stays with his friends, sleeping on couches and floors, leaving a barrage of collages and poem filled papers everywhere he goes. At night, Jean Michel spray paints the walls downtown with poems and drawings that catch the eye of artists, gallery goers, and passersby. Under his art, he signs the name Samo, Samo, instead of Jean Michel. Everybody wants to know who is Samo. Samu moves from the street corners to art gallery walls with powerful color composition and line, collaging and painting on anything he can find. His art is still not neat or clean, and definitely not inside the lines, but somehow still beautiful. With his magical charm, Jean Michel draws a crowd, but when it's time to work, he prefers to be alone with the radio and TV on full blast. Now in expensive suits splattered with paint, he flips through stacks of magazines and open books and paints into the night and sometimes for days at a time, while sounds and images jump into his head. Jean Michel, an artist among artists, never doubts one line, creating from a soundtrack that is all his own. People describe him as radiant, wild, a genius child. But in his heart, he is king. So he draws crowns for himself and others he admires. A grown man now, with the art world in his hands, Jean Michel still visits his mother when he can. And at his most important shows, above all the critics, fans, and artists he admires, the place of honor is his mother's, a queen on a throne. He is now a famous artist. The end. And then, of course, in the back, that's where I was reading the information about Jean Michel Basquiat. Uh, yeah, this book, I love it because it's a very touching, very emotional story. And again, like I talked about, how books can open up doors to conversations that are serious ones. Just like, for example, in here, his mother went away because she it sounded like she had some type of mental illness, and that is something that, especially in the Black community, we definitely have seen that. These are things that we've seen in our families, and sometimes it can be hard to have those conversations. And when you have a book that discusses that or has an entry point to that, that's a great way to start to do research on it and to be and when you do that, that's the thing, it empowers you, right? Because when we don't know something, that's a lot of times when people are fearful. That's when you become scared and you're like, oh my God, I don't know about this. I don't know why, what happened to my mother, why is she gone away, or what's going on with my father, why is he doing this, he's doing these types of things and he wasn't doing this before. Or you may have an uncle or aunt or somebody whose behaviors may seem a little different, and you don't know how to bring it up again. When you have books about these different subjects, it's a great entry point to talk about these things. It's very important. And again, when we have information, it empowers us. And so that's another benefit to having these read aloud. So I hope that I've helped you all with this as well. I hope that this is inspiring you all to make sure that you all take your kids to the library. I know a lot of your kids are out for the summer now. Make sure y'all take those frequent library trips, all right? Your kids should have their library cards. They are free and they can grab this book, okay, or any book of their choice. And let's start, having these times when we are bringing back the reading aloud and reading together as a family. This is what we can do. This is a way in which we can start to diminish and totally, inshallah, God willing, get rid of, eradicate these high levels of illiteracy that plague our Black community. All right. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this story. Again, my name is Miss Sasha. I'm the founder and executive director of ABC Read. And as you all see the ticker at the bottom, if you would be so kind to donate to our organization, this is where the donations go. We've given away over 6,000 books, all right, and counting. Our goal is to give away 10,000 books by the end of this year. Last year, our goal was to give away 5,000, and we did it. We actually exceeded our goal. So now we're on a bigger mission. We said, okay, now we can do 10,000 by the end of 2024. All right. So you can help us do that. You also help us with being able to provide reading events in the city of Cleveland. Okay, activities that are centered around literacy, games, they're intergenerational, so they're for the whole family, giving away books, having healthy foods at these events as well. These are things that we do, and we are planning to add more value to what we are bringing to the community here. So please make sure that you donate. Any donation will be truly needed and definitely appreciated. We are very grateful, okay? We celebrate our donors here. All right. And also, again, check out the merch. Reading is freedom.store. Yes, I need you to go there right now. Go to the website, click on whichever shirt, hoodie, or sweatshirt that you like, or mug or bag. All right. And get to rocking your Reading is Freedom merch. Okay. What you waiting on? All right, we keep talking about, we want to have our kids reading more. We want to be, reading more. We want to have those conversations around literacy and the importance of it. And we got to make this happen. So very creative way. What more creative way than to wear the shirt that adorns the message that we need in our communities. All right. So with that being said, bam, I'm out before the 25 minutes, okay? Thank you all for listening. And remember, reading is freedom. All right? Peace.